Welcome to Fowl Play, the sequel to the Nut Heist. In the Nut Heist, the adventure focused on the forces of the Kingdom of Acorna. In this installment, the adventure revolves around the Black Eastern Chipmunk Squad, known as the Becks, the Delta Force of the Chipmunk Kingdom of Doosan, and their newest member, Elgar. Sit back and enjoy the adventure, for who knows what will happen in the woods when foul play is involved. Fowl Play by Trisha M. Wilson. Episode 3. Chapter 3. The Blevins.
They are late. How long ago should they have been here?
King Ulrich asked his advisor, Tancred. Tancred glanced at the papers in his paws and said, "Their correspondences with us indicated they would arrive this morning, but I've been told there was a sudden storm in their part of the forest. Perhaps they have decided to stay at home until the weather clears."
Snow in early spring. Doesn't the goddess Beza know how important this conference is?
Ulrich muttered to himself. "Of course she doesn't," Queen Lucina said, walking up behind her husband. "She has more important things to worry about. Conferences between squirrels and birds are low on her list of priorities."
My dear, I thought you had decided to work until they arrived,
Ulrich said. "I did, but I expected them to be here hours ago. Do we know if it's still storming where they live?" Lucina asked Tancred.
"No, your majesty. The kingdom is quite a distance from us, and none of our squirrel weather watchers live even close to them. If they do not arrive or send word by night, we will send someone to the Blevins' headquarters in order to make sure they are not lost,"
Ulrich said. "Good idea. We do not want to make them mad and think we did something to their representatives. We need this peace as much as they do," Lucina said. As the three of them turned to go back into the palace, another squirrel called to them from across the courtyard.
"Your Majesties, the Blevins delegation is on their way. According to my men, they should be here within the next few minutes."
Admiral Roswitha walked up to her king and queen, bowed, and continued speaking.
"They appear to have flown through the storm because they are covered in snow. They have also come with their children. I suggest that when they arrive, we get them inside and into a change of clothing before someone becomes sick." "Of course we shall. They are probably chilled to the bone. You said that their children are with them?" Lucina asked, as if not sure she had heard correctly. "Yes, there are a total of 4 children in the group."
Tancred, go inside and make sure each guest room's fireplace is blazing and tell the kitchen to get hot water ready. They might want to take a warm bath, especially if the children are cold,"
Ulrich ordered. Bowing his head in acknowledgement, Tancred quickly turned around and rushed into the palace.
"The correspondence we had with them didn't mention anything about bringing children, did they?"
Lucina asked Ulrich and Roswitha.
"No," Roswitha answered. "They only told us that the Blevins' leader and second-in-command would be arriving to negotiate a treaty. Nobody mentioned they would bring other people."
"Well, we will be able to ask them in a moment or two. Look!"
Ulrich said, pointing his gray finger at a group of birds coming toward them.
"That must be them now. They do look very snowy."
"And the children look soaked to the bone,"
Lucina said. They fell silent as they watched the group of 8 approach the empty courtyard. Circling the area once, as if to make sure there was enough room for them all, the 4 rows of birds gently landed with barely a sound. A bird strode forward from the group. He had a yellow neck and chest, with his chest streaked with black stripes. In addition, he had black around his eyes, which looked like a mask, a blue-gray crown, and black wings and tail with hints of white. Looking at the 3 squirrels standing there, he said to them,
"Greetings. I am Arwell, the leader of the Blevins United Confederation. Welcome, Arwell. I am King Ulrich of Acorna, and this is my wife, Queen Lucina," Ulrich said.
Lucina bowed her head when her husband introduced her.
Why don't you and your party come inside the palace? Your rooms are ready for you all, so you can warm up and rest from your long journey. Thank you, King Ulrich. Come, everyone, inside where it is warm. We can do introductions later, once everyone has dried off,
Arwell said, flapping his wing at the group. 4 very bundled-up children hurried their way into the palace, followed by the adults. Once everyone was inside, Ulrich said, Tancred will escort you to your rooms. If there is anything you need, please do not hesitate to let him know. We will see you all tonight at dinner.
Thank you, one of the adult birds said. If you could have some seed tea delivered to us, we would greatly appreciate it. At once. In addition, we have hot water warming, so if anyone would like a bath, please let Tancred know,
Lucina said.
If you would please follow me,
Tancred said, leading the way down the hall. The Blevins delegation followed him. Once they were out of sight, Lucina said,
Their leader is most striking. I have never had the opportunity to see such colors on an animal before. Have you?
She asked her companions. Ulrich shook his head. Roswitha, however, said,
Once. I was in training on the outer edges of the forest, and a comrade and I became separated from our group. We ended up wandering into a bird that did not look too different from him. Our first reaction was to run, but the bird was so calm and unthreatening, we soon realized he would not hurt us. He helped us get back to our group. Sounds as if you still have a lot of respect for him,
Lucina said.
I do.
Only non-squirrel I've ever met that would help someone in trouble,
Roswitha said.
Hopefully these birds will be the same way, or else our negotiations are going to be long and hard,
Ulrich said before walking down the hall. Hours later, as the sun was going to sleep, the Bevins delegation entered the formal dining room, wearing what appeared to be their very best moss clothing. Arwell, wearing a green moss coat, which accentuated his yellow chest, greeted the purple moss-clothed royals first.
King Ulrich and Queen Lucina, let me introduce my lovely wife Tesni, and our 3 children, Rise, Nesta, and Adern.
As Arwell said the name of each child, Rise bowed his head, while the girls made little curtsies.
It is lovely to meet you,
Lucina said to the family. And behind me is my second-in-command, Elined, with her husband, Sion, and their daughter, Afinen, Arwell said, finishing the introductions. Elined and her family were different-colored birds than Arwell and his family. Their chests and necks were white, while the rest of them, including their heads, were a beautiful pale blue color. The most striking part about them, however, was that the hair on the crest of their head did not lie flat as it did with most birds. Their hair had a swept-back appearance and stood up in the most natural way possible. It was quite beautiful and suited their intelligent gazes and faces. Elined approached Ulrich and Lucina, wearing a striking blue moss dress which intensified her whole look.
It is an honor to meet you, your majesties.
As us you, Lucina said. Sensing movement next to her, she glanced over and saw Roswitha enter the room.
Everyone, let me introduce you to the leader of our army, Admiral Roswitha.
The adults in Affinan nodded their heads at her, and she to them.
Come, let us sit and get to know each other,
Ulrich said, motioning to the table.
Our chef has prepared a bounty of food in celebration of your safe arrival.
I hope she didn't go to too much trouble,
Sion said as he sat down at the table.
Oh, no. Amelia has been most excited for this day. She has been chomping at the nut to try some of her recipes. According to her, only birds know how to really appreciate seed cake. Also, she has made some delicacies just for you. I'm not sure exactly what the menu is, but you are in for a treat, Ulrich said.
As soon as everyone was settled at the table, the first course arrived. The squirrel who served the food said,
The brown soup is acorn, while the lighter soup is sunflower seed. Amelia suggests that if you want to try both, you start with the sunflower seed soup and then go to the acorn.
Thank you, Oda, Lucina said, effortlessly. As if they had all done this before, the 2 varieties of soup went around the table until everyone had some. Taking a taste, Tesney said,
"This is wonderful. I've never tasted such a delicious sunflower seed soup before. Dear, we must get the recipe before we leave."
"I'll remember that, dear,"
Arwell said.
"Tell us about your journey here. When you didn't arrive on time, we became worried,"
Ulrich said, eating his own soup. "I am sorry about that, but it wasn't avoidable. We started on our journey a little late. The children kept going back into their nests because they forgot something they simply had to bring, and then the storm hit. It came out of nowhere. None of us expected a storm in spring, especially in our part of the forest. We rarely get much snow during the winter, so a spring snowstorm was a huge surprise. After a few minutes, we decided it was too dangerous to keep flying because of the storm, so we took shelter in a nearby tree. We had to have been there for a while because the snow just kept coming. I was just about to suggest that we turn around and go home when the snow lessened in intensity and we could continue on. Elined did suggest she fly ahead to inform you that we were still coming, but the children wouldn't hear of us splitting up. Adern began to cry at the idea because she was convinced that Eluned would get lost and die.
"She could have,"
Adern said under her breath as the second course came out. "This is a bark and twig salad, while this one is a shredded worm and bug salad. The worms and bugs are freshly caught," Oda said.
"A harrowing tale, to be sure,"
Roswitha said as she put some bark and twig salad on her plate.
"I am glad that everyone made it here safely."
"So are we," Sion said. "For a while there, I wasn't sure we would make it, but then the sun came out and we began to warm up enough so that we could continue our journey."
"We were surprised you brought your children with you,"
Lucina said.
"Nobody mentioned that they would be accompanying you."
"Oh," Tesney said, sounding suddenly concerned.
"I hope you don't mind."
"Not at all," Ulrich said. "We love children."
"Have you any little squirrels of your own?"
Eluned asked.
"No," Ulrich said. "The gods have not blessed us yet, but we hope to have one or two shortly. But enough about us. Tell us why you brought your children."
"Well, our nanny, who we had planned to stay with them, suddenly had to leave the area, some sort of family emergency. With nobody to watch them, we decided that this peace conference would be a perfect opportunity to have them learn a little about how peace comes together and about a different animal group,"
Tesney said. "The main dishes are roasted blue flax-encrusted worm and roasted black walnuts. The side dishes are roots, dried corn on the cob, and Niger thistle seeds. Enjoy," Oda said.
"Did your daughter come for the same reasons, Eluned?"
Roswitha asked.
"No, we had always planned on her coming with us. Afinen is very interested in every aspect of this conference. I believe that young people should see peace in person. You don't get the real story when you are told about it. So with your approval, she will be with us during most of our negotiations."
"Of course,"
Ulrich said after glancing at his wife.
"As long as everything stays civil, I see no reason why the children shouldn't be allowed to watch. Do you plan on following your mother's footsteps when you're older, Afinen?"
"I haven't decided yet if I want to be in government or explore a different career path," she said, sounding incredibly adult and poised.
"What about you, Rise? We haven't heard a word from you yet. What do you want to be when you leave the nest?"
Lucina asked.
"I plan on being the first of our kind to fully explore the vast Axoi forest. According to what I have learned so far, not one animal has seen all of it. I want to go to every kingdom and valley there is,"
Rise said.
"The desserts are crabapple cobbler, mixed berries, and mixed seed cake,"
Oda said.
"So you are an explorer,"
Roswitha said, looking at the young bird.
"You might want to meet a few of my men, with your parents' permission, of course. They are very well traveled, and I believe you would enjoy listening to some of their stories."
Rise immediately looked to his parents with a pleading look in his eyes. "We will see how things go tomorrow. We don't want to burden the Admiral," Arwell said.
"He wouldn't be. My men would enjoy the break from training,"
Roswitha said.
What do you want to be, Nesta?
Lucina inquired. Nesta looked up and said with a straight face,
I want to be an adult bird. Yes, honey, you will be an adult bird one day. But what about your job?
Lucina asked.
I don't know. I just want to be an adult, she said. I wants to be a swimmer,
Adern said, not even waiting to be asked.
I love to swim. I just want to swim all day and all night.
That sounds like a good goal,
Ulrich said, trying to keep back the smile that was trying to form on his face. Before any more questions could be asked, Adern and Nesta both yawned greatly.
Looks like it is bedtime for them,
Tesny said.
Yes, it has been a long day for all of you,
Ulrich said, getting to his feet.
The conference can start at whatever time you would like it to. Let one of the servants know, and they will find us. I hope you had a good meal and that you sleep well.
We shall, Sion said. Please tell your chef that this meal was delicious. I haven't tasted anything that delectable in ages. Everything was perfect.
I will be sure to inform her,
Lucina said.
Do you need someone to show you to your rooms?
No, we can manage. Thank you, and we will see you tomorrow,
Arwell said, the last of the group to leave the room. Roswitha, Lucina, and Ulrich watched as the two families walked down the hall and then were out of sight.
What did you think of them?
Lucina asked Roswitha.
They appear to be good people. I didn't detect any deception, but the conference hasn't officially started, and negotiations haven't occurred. Elined is the one you will probably want to watch out for. She is a thinker, and will most likely try to skew the terms in favor of her side. Arwell, on the other paw, or should I say wing, will be as fair as he can be. He is honest, and everything he says should be taken as the facts as they are known to him.
You are very observant,
Ulrich said.
We will have to wait until tomorrow and see how the first day's negotiations go. I hope we will be able to get through this quickly.
So do I,
Lucina said. Foul Play was written by Trisha M. Wilson and read by R.L. Ferguson. For comments or compliments, just head over to Colbyjack.net and look for our contact page. Foul Play is released under Creative Commons non-commercial no derivatives license. Share it with whoever you want, just don't sell it or change it. Have a nice day. Foul Play is now available in ebook format from Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and Smashwords. While you're there, check out our other titles such as The Nut Heist, the prequel to Foul Play, or Nightmare, a tale of obsession and murder. Links to all her wonderful titles are available at our homepage at Colbyjack.net.